Okay, we'll call this meeting of the Beaver Dam City Common Council together. Today is Monday, September 16th. Let it be shown at 7:36. And Ms. Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Anderson,
Here.
Appenfeld,
Here.
Burnett. Burnett,
Here.
Furry, Fisher.
Here.
Hiley. Here. Keel.
Here.
Mark.
Here.
Olson.
Present.
Perkins.
Here.
Wild.
Here.
Yutz.
Here.
Saab.
Here.
Okay, we had Alderman Furry has called in and he had a family emergency he had to take care of. So please join me with the pledge and a moment of silent deliberation.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, we have informal public hearing. And if you were in person, I guess online is not working right now, and you would like to address the council with anything that's not on the agenda, now is your time to speak. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak to the council? Is there anyone here that would like to speak to the council on an item not on the agenda? Okay, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. And we'll move on to announcements. Don't have too much right now. October 28th, though, is one of our local businesses, Expressive Art Therapies, is having an open house at their new facility. They're moving from North Spring Street over to 209 South University. That's a building next to Wayland's Field House. Used to be a dental office at one time. They're moving into part of that building and hoping to expand more. From what I understand, it's a business that uses art to help mostly minors, children, to through therapy to help their learning skills. It's the 28th from 9:30 to 11:30. That's correct. And that would be a 10 o'clock ribbon cutting. Okay, you should have the minutes in front of you for the September 9th, 24 meeting of the Common Council. Is there a motion to approve those minutes? Alder Bonnet? Do we have a motion on the floor? Is there a second? Alder Mark?
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion, any questions, corrections on the minutes from our previous meeting? Okay, seeing none. All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. And any abstentions? Motion carried. All right, moving on to presentations, reports. We have the city administrator report.
Just a couple of things to pass along. A couple of, or one event in particular this weekend, the 21st, from 8 to 10. There will be the Water Protect Wisconsin Waterways trash pickup. Todd and his committee for the region kind of spearhead that. And so if you have any questions, he'd probably be a better person to ask. But if you know of individuals that would like to participate, it's a good family service project. Gloves, and if you register in advance, a shirt will be supplied. So a good event. Second thing, and I'm going to at least turn to Tracy a little bit, want to, if there are any questions about absentee ballots and election, absentee ballots are scheduled to go out this week. Individuals can either mail them back, they can drop them off in person at the city clerk's office. We also have two drop boxes. One's attached to the building on the rear end that individuals can use. The other is out front. Both are under surveillance. Our staff check them frequently, but just making sure that that message gets communicated. Tracy, do you want to add anything to that?
I think we just wanted to clarify that. An article came out in the newspaper today and it wasn't very clear. But yes, we are using our drop boxes with a two-person office. We can't be stopping every 2 minutes when someone's dropping off a ballot. So historically, it's worked great. We're good to go.
Perfect. And I think that will suffice for tonight. So.
Okay. Clerk Farren, are there any communications this evening?
None this evening.
Okay. We'll move on to approval of the bills. Is there a motion to approve the bills? Aldermark?
The bills were approved by the Administrative Committee in the amount of $2,885,355.15.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second to approve paying the bills? Alder Keel as a second. Okay. All in favor of, wait, any other discussion on the bills? Any questions? Okay, seeing none. All in favor of paying the bills, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Okay, one abstention. Motion carries. All right, we'll move into ordinances. First one is ordinance 15-2024.
Ordinance number 15-2024, an ordinance providing for the direct annexation of property in the town of Trenton and the town of Beaver Dam to the city of Beaver Dam, Dodge County, Wisconsin. This is the second reading.
Okay, I'm going to start this one off with just a brief overview from Trent. If you want to tell us, give me a little update.
Good evening. Looking around and seeing that we've got alderpersons with varying degrees of tenure, just a quick overview on how we got to this point. A number of years back, we entered into a partnership with Alliant Energy, formed the Beaver Dam Commerce Park. Variety of that development could be described as a mega site. We were, I guess in a self-described way, whale hunting. We're looking for large-scale projects. We have been for a number of years, looking for community good, whether that's quality tax base, quality employment opportunities, and Alliant certainly looking for significant energy users. We have been fortunate enough over the past months to be working on a specific project. We did share what was allowed by non-disclosure agreement with this group in closed session not all that long ago. We are continuing our efforts on that project in close partnership with Alliant Energy and the potential company. Things are progressing well, but certainly still a ways to go. And we'll certainly work as hard as we can to get that project to the finish line. Not done yet. This annexation, however, is a significant piece of that project and an absolute prerequisite to us continuing to move forward. Going back to the formation of this park, the partnership with Alliant, we've been very impressed with Alliant's transparency from day one. I mean, they were holding public meetings, talking about potential uses, being as open as I think any entity can be when you're dealing in such a speculative environment. So certainly think our partner has handled things in the right way, and we're appreciative of that relationship. Now we're fortunate to be courting a company equally impressed with this entity. They have proven to want to be very sound environmental stewards. They want to be outstanding neighbors and just a Class A member of this business community. And we would be very fortunate if we can get to the finish line with them and have them join the family here in Beaver Dam. We are still under these non-disclosure agreements for very valid reasons. This annexation, critical to that potential project. And we always look at
top side and low side on any of our decisions, right? Worst case scenario, if this project weren't to occur, this property is into Beaver Dam, and we're that much closer in our efforts on a future project. None of the planning changes, we're just a step closer. This site involves that Alliant option mega site property and some neighboring properties that the company has taken an interest in for its, potential near-term and long-term needs. Really no downside for Beaver Dam, all upside, and we hope remarkable upside in the coming months. So I just wanted to give a little historical background to any of the alders that were not available for various reasons at that closed session meeting. You know where to find me. We can have individual meetings. I'd be happy to share that information that we had discussed. Our newest member, same thing, Alderperson Wild, just reach out if you want to talk and get caught up to speed on this potential project. Would welcome the conversation. And as always, fire away. I'd be happy to take any questions you might have. I know when I'm done, Larry is going to address some of the actual documents, some administrative items relating to those. And we hope to keep moving forward with this tonight. Thank you.
Trent, when you want to talk to us about the next ordinance, just briefly about the annexation zoning change?
Yeah, so the light manufacturing zoning ordinance that will follow is geared again toward this potential project. That light manufacturing code would cover the project that we're courting. It's also a very common use that we have used in our business parks. Again, if for any reason this project were not to move forward, it's not heavy manufacturing. There's some protections for neighboring properties and things like that, but it still has quite a bit of flexibility in terms of the projects that we would be interested in acquiring. So it's really a 1-2 here. We need the land in Beaver Dam. We need it zoned appropriately so the company we're working with has enough comfort to continue moving forward with us. And this would result in you guys seeing a development agreement in the coming months, hopefully by year end. At that point, there would be obviously a bunch of detail as would be required for the project to move forward and warrant your consideration. So that's where we're at. I would also like to thank Attorney Buck from Quarles and Brady. Attorney Buck is representing the company in our discussions. He was good enough to come in from Madison tonight. Just in the event there's any questions, I think we've been pretty thorough in our conversations, but we certainly appreciate you making the trip in, and either of us are certainly available if you guys have any questions.
Thank you, Trent.
You got it.
Okay. Go ahead, Larry.
So earlier today, Tracy sent out a letter that we received from the Department of Administration, DOA, today on this annexation, and this is a part of the process for all annexations of this type, that you petition for annexation, then you notify the DOA and they do a review. We only just received that after close of business on Friday. So you got it today. There were a number of technical matters listed on that in that letter. Those were largely generated by the review from the county in their review, and then they provided that to the DOA, and the DOA included those in their letter. Over the course of today, those issues, those things that are issues have been addressed and will be included in a revised Exhibit A, which you'll see on pages 34 through 37 or so in your packet, to the annexation ordinance. None of them are significant enough to change any of the properties that are included or anything like that. It's just some technical issues on legal descriptions and some changes to references on the map. So the Attorney Buck does have copies of those revisions. If anyone wants one, he can hand them out, but you'll have trouble figuring out where they are in the document because those legal descriptions 2 pages long. But basically what I'm telling you is there's a number of things that were suggestions that we didn't think were required, and the things that we did think were required have been addressed, and that will be attached as a new Exhibit A to this ordinance should you pass it. And if there's any specific questions on any of the items on that letter or about that letter process, fire away.
All right. Thank you, Attorney Konopecki. At this time, I'm going to open up the floor for, because it's a second reading, we need a public hearing. So if there's anyone here from the public that would like to speak on this issue in particular, either present or online, we got the Zoom going now. Now's your chance. So I do have to ask 3 times. Is there anyone here to speak on the issue of ordinance number 15-2024? Seeing none so far. Is there anyone in the audience or online that would like to speak to us on ordinance 15-2024? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing and open it up to the council floor. So is there a motion to accept? Alder Olson.
Make a motion.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Looking for a second. Alder Wild?
I would second it.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. And any discussion? Any questions? Been reviewed pretty well, I think. Okay, seeing none, please call the roll.
Anderson,
Aye.
Appenfelt,
Aye.
Burnett,
Aye.
Burnett,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Hiley,
Aye.
Keel,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Olson,
Aye.
Perkins,
Aye.
Wild,
Aye.
Yads,
Aye.
Zap.
Aye.
Ordinance 15-2024 has been approved. And now we'll move on to ordinance number 16-2024.
Ordinance number 16-2024, an ordinance establishing zoning designations for annex properties. This is a second reading.
Okay, we had an explanation already. Got to open up for public hearing.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, the public hearing is now open. Anyone in the audience or online that would like to speak to the council in regard to ordinance number 16-2024? Anyone present or online that would like to speak to the council on ordinance 16-2024? One last time, is there anyone that would like to speak to this ordinance? Okay, hearing none. We'll close the second reading. And Alder Appenfeld.
I was going to make a motion to accept the resolution.
That'd be fabulous. We have a motion on the floor. And is there a second? Alder Fisher? Okay. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on rezoning? Basically, when property comes into the city of Beaver Dam, typically it would be R1. So we're just changing that right away to light manufacturing. Okay, seeing no questions, go ahead and call the roll, please.
Appenfelt,
Aye.
Burnett,
Aye.
Burnett,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Hiley,
Aye.
Keel,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Olson,
Aye.
Perkins,
Aye.
Wild,
Aye.
Yads,
Aye.
Zap,
Aye.
Anderson.
Aye.
Okay, ordinance 16-2024 has been approved. I want to thank you, Trent, for coming in and presenting, and thank you to Attorney Buck for visiting with us. It's nice to have you here. And we'll move on to Resolution 74.
Resolution number 74-2024, a resolution charging off delinquent miscellaneous accounts receivable.
Alder Mark?
I would like to point out that This resolution was passed by the admin committee. However, the amount that was listed in the packet was incorrect. The correct amount is, the amount in the packet was like $3,007, I believe. The actual amount should be $3,923.95. So it was, we amended it and passed it in admin committee.
Okay, so the amount you're looking at charging off is $39.23.95.
And I'll make a motion to.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion on the floor. Is there a second to the motion to approve? Alder Fisher? Thank you. Any discussion, any questions? Typically, I believe I read that if this is over $25, it'll go to bonded collectors to see, hopefully we can try to get half of that back. All right, call the roll.
Bonnet,
Aye.
Burnett,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Hiley,
Aye.
Keel,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Olson,
Aye.
Perkins,
Aye.
Wild. Aye. Yads,
Aye.
Zap,
Aye.
Anderson,
Aye.
Appenfeld.
Aye.
Okay, resolution 74-2024 has been approved. And move on to resolution 75.
Resolution number 75-2024, a resolution amending the City of Beaver Dam 2024 fee schedule.
Okay, looking for a motion to approve. Alder Zop,
I'll make a motion to approve.
and is there a second? Alder Hiley? We have a second. So this one, there was, I believe, just one change to the fee schedule. Is there questions? Yes.
Just to point out, it will also open up or require permit parking for a couple other lots that had not had permits in the past, Rogers Hotel being one of them. It's a way to basically have a uniform code to treat all parking lots, city-owned parking lots, the same, charge the same for the yearly parking pass to park at night. Most of the time this gets used for winter parking. But yeah, it did pass operations.
Okay. Any other questions? Alder Yuds?
Yeah, on page 76, under black parties and closing permits, it's listed at $50. I think we're losing money on that. Time we hire two guys, go from the city garage out, put them up, come back on Monday, pick them back up, have someone at Watermark fill out the paperwork, check your insurance. We've long passed over $50. I think it should be $100.
Which line was that? What was it? What was the title?
Well, it's on page 76, on miscellaneous license and permits, the first thing under there, but they're halfway down.
So every year we evaluate the fee schedule, and during the budget period, and staff can review this again and take this comment, Alder Yutz, into account when we bring the fee schedule for budget review. The specific item before you tonight is specific amendment for the parking. Downtown parking. Staff did think about the process of going through and providing you just the overall amendment for the 2025 budget. However, it would have required a little bit more time, and the police department is looking for some action on this parking lot so that they can get going on notifying, because they do this on an annual basis, and notify individuals that utilize the parking lots for winter parking. So while I appreciate the thought process that Alder Yutz has brought forward, and we'll definitely take that into consideration, just an FYI that where the scope is fairly narrow on this, on the item that's before you tonight.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, seeing none, please call the roll.
Burnett,
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
Hiley. Aye. Keel,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Olson,
Aye.
Perkins,
Aye.
Wild. Aye. Yads,
Aye.
Zap,
Aye.
Anderson,
Aye.
Appenfeld,
Aye.
Bonnet.
Aye.
Okay, resolution 75-2024 has been approved, and we'll move on to resolution 76.
Resolution number 76-2024, a resolution authorizing the issuance and sale of up to $742,224 water system revenue bonds, Series 2024, and providing for other details and covenants with respect thereto.
Okay, is there a motion to approve this resolution? Alder Burnett,
I'll make a motion to approve that resolution.
and I'm looking for a second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Alder Hiley. So is there questions about maybe what this is for, or does everybody know what it covers? Can you give me a brief description, Todd, or Nathan?
I can give a little bit. So basically, as we went through the budget process last year, there were two utility projects that we intended to use the Clean Water Fund. So the state has a program where we can use Clean Water Fund for bonding for specifically for water and sewer projects. This bond issuance is covering last year Curry Street and this year West Street. And so that's the long and short of it. It wasn't included in the other bond series because this provides a favorable rate and also some additional potential grant dollars. And so this was the recommended route for those utilities, but was included in the 2024, our 2024 budget.
Okay, other questions? Okay, seeing none, we will go ahead with the roll call for resolution 76.
Fisher,
Aye.
Hiley,
Aye.
Keel,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Olson,
Aye.
Perkins,
Aye.
Wild,
Aye.
Yads,
Aye.
Sop,
Aye.
Anderson,
Aye.
Eppenfeld,
Aye.
Burnett,
Aye.
Burnett.
Aye.
Okay, resolution 76, 2024 has passed. Move on to resolution 77.
A resolution authorizing the issuance and sale of up to $616,532 sewerage system revenue bond, Series 2024, and providing for other details and covenants with respect thereto.
Okay, and this resolution, you probably notice, is pretty much shadowing the one before it, just that it has to do with sewage instead of water. So is there a motion to approve this? Alder Burnett,
I'll make a motion to approve.
and second by Alder Zop.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. Questions? Yes.
So what, I know Nathan said that the previous resolution covered the water mains for the Curry and West Street reconstruction projects. What does this money cover?
Same things. I think there may be a few other sewer projects included, but it's basically the Curry and the West Street. And if you'll recall, in 2024, or not 2023, we didn't have sufficient projects in the utilities to issue debt at that time. So that's why we've joined the 2023 and the 2024 year.
Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, we'll call the roll for 77.
Hiley,
Aye.
Keel,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Olson,
Aye.
Perkins,
Aye.
Wild,
Aye.
Yads,
Aye.
Sop,
Aye.
Anderson,
Aye.
Eppenfeld,
Aye.
Burnett,
Aye.
Burnett,
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
Okay, resolution 77-2024 passes, and we'll move forward to resolution 78.
Resolution number 78-2024, a resolution accepting amendment number 1 to a proposal for professional services for transit feasibility study with SRF Consulting Group, Inc.
Okay, a resolution in front of you. Is there a motion to pass, please? Alder Mark,
This resolution passed through the admin committee, and I'll make a motion to pass it here.
okay, and is there a second? Alder Burnett, Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there discussion? Any questions as to what this pertains to?
Yes, what does it pertain to?
Okay, go ahead.
City was presented with a transportation feasibility study, and I think that was before you were here maybe. And after the council saw the presentation, we were given several options to explore. And one of the options that the council wanted more information on and to explore to improve our city transportation was to use technology to improve our current system. And so this extra money will allow the same group that did the feasibility study to do a proposal for professional services, like a bid process to create that. So then we can, as a council, decide if that's the direction we want to go. So that's what the extra money to this same organization is going for, is the proposal. We're having them write the proposal for professional services.
And then also just to clarify, the funding for this is from the federal ARPA dollars? ARPA funds from the COVID. So this isn't, yes.
And the council has already designated it for this purpose. It's a large lump sum, so this is just taking out of that large lump sum.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Thanks for the explanation, Alder Mark. So call the roll for 78.
Keel,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Olson,
Aye.
Perkins,
Aye.
Wild,
Aye.
Yuds,
Aye.
Sop,
Aye.
Anderson,
Aye.
Appenfelt,
Aye.
Burnett,
Aye.
Burnett,
Aye.
Fisher,
No.
Hiley.
Aye.
Okay. Resolution number 78-2024 is passed, and we move on to 79.
Resolution number 79-2024, a resolution authorizing the professional services agreement for administration of the 2024 Community Development Block Grant for Public Facilities.
Okay, you have in front of you Resolution 79. Is there a motion to accept? Alder Zopp?
I'll make a motion to accept.
Okay, is there a second? Alder Perkins?
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second. Is there any discussion, any questions? Yes,
To-
Alder
to-
Zopp.
To recap, so this goes back to the community block development grants that we got for Beaver Street and Front Street. But along with getting those grants, there's a whole lot of reporting that we have to do. So this is basically contracting with MSA to ensure that we meet all of our reporting obligations, and there are a lot of them. So to make sure that we don't risk losing those dollars. So that's what the agreement we're proposing is for.
Okay, any other questions? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Mark,
Aye.
Olson,
Aye.
Perkins,
Aye.
Wild,
Aye.
Yuds,
Aye.
Sop,
Aye.
Anderson,
Aye.
Appenfelt,
Aye.
Burnett,
Aye.
Burnett,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Hiley,
Aye.
Keel.
Aye.
Okay, Resolution 79-2024 does pass. Move on to Resolution 80.
Resolution number 80-2024, a resolution authorizing the state municipal agreement for the 2025 STP local program project.
Okay, Resolution 80 is in front of you. Is there a motion to approve? Alder Zopp.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, and Alder Mark.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a resolution with a first and a second. Is there any questions as to what this program is?
What is this, Mike?
That's a good question. Who's the appropriate answer?
I can answer or Todd, either one.
Okay, go ahead.
Give me Todd. Oh. So Todd has had a good streak of going and targeting and getting grants. And this relates back to the grant that we received for Judson Drive, I believe, to resurface Judson Drive. And it would cover about 80% of the cost to resurface Judson Drive. It was listed as what, between 2 and 4 on the passer rating, and 2 is pretty low, right? Parts of that street, 2, it's almost like gravel pits.
Yeah.
So it's a need of it. And so again, I think total cost was somewhere around 360,000. The grant covers something around 294. So again, about 80%. The one sticking point that we did discuss in operations was this grant. It comes from a pool of money that is allocating to complete streets being all modes of transportation, sidewalks for pedestrians, bike lanes, and cars. The street has sidewalks and it has cars. It does not have bike lanes. So if we accept this money, we are agreeing to add bike lanes. By adding bike lanes, we have to remove parking from one side of the street. So that we will take that along with it to get this grant money. That's, I guess, the downside. But bright side is 80% of the project will be covered by this grant.
Clarify for me, was the parking removed from one side or both sides?
Just one side.
Okay. Yes. Alder-
What blocks of Judson is this pertain to? The far end or the west, eastern end?
Western end, so Spring Street to Lincoln.
Okay, thank you.
Alder Mark?
This street is in my district, and on one hand, I will be happy to go home and tell my husband if this passes, because we were driving on that street just the other day and he said, when are they gonna fix this street? And I said, I don't know. But on the other hand, there are two large apartment complexes on that stretch of street, and so both sides of the street are used for parking. So, there's going to be some unhappy residents because it'll be harder for them to find a place to park.
But they do have a parking lot. I don't know what the
Yeah,
size limit is, but
but the townhouses open up on the street, not the parking lot. So, but I'm just saying that's, be prepared for some negative reaction.
okay. And the rough estimate right now is the city would, for this whole project, would only owe 87,000. The grant would pay the rest. That's from the estimates. Yes.
Yes, I forgot to ask this. After our $40,000 MSA engineering, does that only 80,000 cover the additional engineering?
No, that that 80% is on the construction end of things. So we would still have some extra for design.
Okay.
Yes, so
All right.
that is not
stand-
accurate.
I stand corrected.
80,000. Thank you.
Yes, Alder Bonnet.
This is a slight question, but you triggered it on your comment on off-street parking for apartment houses. Is that currently a code that whenever somebody's doing apartments, they have a designated number of spots in the lot, or? Because otherwise we're going to get trapped every time on this.
Well, typically it's in a developer's agreement.
Yeah, I can. So typically, smart planning, as developments come, you would make sure that there's sufficient parking on the actual development. I was shaking my head, indicating that it's not per ordinance that the city has to provide parking, on-street parking. Now, we design streets to permit it, but typically, per our code, there's a certain number of parking stalls that are required per unit. I think right now in the downtown, it's like 1.5, and then in other areas, sometimes it's up to 2. I'm not the expert on that. John Moosereiner would be aware of that, but typically there are so many parking stalls required by the development for each unit that they construct.
Any other questions or comments on Resolution 80?
Just one other comment in general. One of the things that comes out from the community as a whole is the desire to have complete streets, right? It's something that we saw in the community action plan discussion, making sure that we've got proper bike facilities and pedestrian facilities is a desire by the community. Oftentimes, the actual property owners that are right there don't appreciate it, but they appreciate walking on their neighbor's sidewalk. So the point is that this is a little bit of a difficult, and I think we can all respect that that there will be concerns. But having said that, I do want to applaud Todd in going after this grant. And also, I would applaud our efforts as a community to strive for complete streets and trying to make sure that we're also aware of pedestrians and cyclists. So,
Thank you, Nathan. Any other questions or comments on this resolution? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Olson,
Aye.
Perkins,
Aye.
Wild,
Aye.
Yads,
Aye.
Sop,
Aye.
Anderson,
Aye.
Abbenfeld,
Aye.
Burnett,
Aye.
Burnett,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Hiley,
Aye.
Keel,
Aye.
Mark.
Aye.
Okay, Resolution 80-2024 is passed. So move on to discussion and possible action. One of the duties of the council is to do a annual review of our city administrator, and we're due for that, or a little past due already. Last year, because we didn't technically have a committee to do that, the executive committee, I should say, we did it as a little bit of a do it by need, and the council, the mayor, the council president, and then the two chairs of the two committees were the four persons that did the review of a city elder or city administrator. So in our discussions, which we have not approved yet in ordinance number 6, we have talked about adding 2 additional alders to that. I'm calling it an evaluation committee because we'd like to move forward and get this evaluation going. It's not a 2-minute thing. We got to send out questionnaires to staff and to all of you folks. We'll be able to put a comment in. So we're hoping to get that to move along. So at this time, I'm going to open it up for discussion and see what the council pleasures, if they want to nominate 2 additional alders to serve on the evaluation committee for this year. And then hopefully next year, we would have the other executive committee in order. Alder Fisher?
Seeing that the executive committee doesn't exist at this point in time, there is no committee for the city of Beaver Dam named the executive committee, and it's part of the ordinance 6 that was voted on, but the portion of it was not correct because we didn't have a 2/3 vote. And I would ask Larry this, am I correct in what I just stated?
We do not have an executive committee at this point.
Okay, then my suggestion would be that because ordinance 6 hasn't been passed, I see no reason why the council as a whole could not review this and act on this matter of a review of the city administrator for this previous year as a committee of the whole, the council of the whole. So my suggestion would be, and I'll put it in a motion if necessary, that the council as a whole will not only review the responses from the department heads, but would hold a council of the whole meeting with the department heads in attendance without the city administrator being in attendance. So we could ask questions of the city department heads, so everybody has the information that the department heads have, and we can ask questions, whereas with a survey, you can't ask questions of a survey.
Okay, other comments?
I feel that continues to move us backwards as a common council. We want to move into this ordinance and making moves towards the city administrator. I don't see the whole council needed to be involved in this evaluation moving forward in hopes that it would not be this way and we would have an executive committee. So I think if we are going to do a committee of the whole, again, we're backtracking what we want to move forward with. So I do politely disagree with Fisher as a council of a whole and keeping it as a, you called it an evaluation committee.
Right. Yes, Alder. What's your name?
Frank.
Sorry,
Would the
Mr.
idea-
Anderson.
Would the idea be that they would bring their findings back and give a report to the whole council?
Mm-hmm.
I would think yes.
That would be the suggestion, to have the evaluation committee, whether it be just the 4 we had last year, or if it would be grown to 6 to get better representation, and then bring it back to the council just to review, I think, pretty much after all the data is collected. Yes, Alder Yuds. I got your name. Sorry, Anderson.
I guess since neither an executive committee doesn't exist and there really isn't any such thing as an evaluation committee, maybe we have to go with the 4 this year and then see if we want to set up the executive committee later for the next year.
Yeah,
That's an idea.
that would be the hope. It's in ordinance 6, so just to see where that goes.
Yeah, so the advice I gave last year on this is the same as I would say this year. Because we're in a transition point on the ordinances, it's up to the mayor to conduct a review if one is going to be conducted. Last year, the previous mayor, decided to bring into that group the 2 chairs and the council president. I think what Mayor Wassell is asking here is, are there 2 people that'll step up and volunteer in addition to those to participate on this, because he's trying to be as consistent with the majority on what they voted on with the executive committee. We have 2 options presented. Alder Fisher has suggested that the council do this as a whole. The agenda item is to ask for 2 people to stand up and raise their hand, or people to nominate people to participate on this evaluation group. It's not a committee. It's not a subcommittee. It's not an official committee. It's just people participating in the process to get more of the council involved in that. So 2 options. I don't know that we're looking for a motion as much as volunteers, or if people agree with Alder Fisher's suggestions, then you can take that under advisement. It's really the mayor's responsibility in this transition period still.
Larry, correct me if I'm wrong, but the mayor can create an advisory committee at any time. And in a sense, this becomes somewhat of an advisory committee.
We could do that. That is not what we did last year, largely because it's not required that it be a technical committee. And if it's not, then we don't have to go through the same process we would with a committee on noticing meetings and going into closed session for pretty much every one of the meetings. That it's just a review process, because it's less than a quorum or a walking quorum. It's fine that a number of alders be in participation. We wouldn't go over this number though.
Yeah, and I guess the point I have is I'd like to make it so it's somewhat consistent. So each year we know what to expect. Alder Fisher.
Instead of just two, then can anybody attend that meeting, seeing that it's not an official meeting as a walk-in?
No, because then we'd have quorum issues for the council. So we're talking about going from the 4 last year, 3 of whom were on the council, to 6 this year, 5 of whom are on the council. So we're getting very close to a quorum of the council, and we need to stay below that number, or we need to create a specific committee and then notice it, and then provide notice that a quorum of the council might be present.
Thank
But-
you.
Yeah.
Yes, Alder Eppenfeld.
I would volunteer.
Okay, Alder Anderson. Okay, we have 2 volunteers. Does anyone else like to volunteer?
I would like to volunteer.
Alder Hiley? Anyone else? Okay, Alder Bonnet? Any other volunteers?
Well, now, are we at 7 now?
No, we're only gonna look for
We're only
2.
going to take 2 of the
So
volunteers.
we'll need to vote.
How will we vote? Will we vote anonymous,
Paper ballot?
paper ballot? What are we doing?
You're probably not. Are you prepared for that?
No. I don't think we have to have a secret ballot for this, do we, Larry?
We can't use a secret ballot. We didn't use a secret ballot when we appointed alders. We can't do that in that situation, but we can use a secret ballot to appoint members of the body to things like this. So yes, we can see if, now that there's 4, if anybody wants to step aside, or if there's not, we can just, you can run it in any way you want, but I guess my take on it would be, if you don't want to do a number of rounds, you just run it through, and whoever gets to the 2 people that get the most votes, move forward.
You wanna hand
Okay,
this
it
out?
looks like we're gonna.
And
do a-
if you're comfortable with it, we can go through and call, and everybody can say one name. If you'd rather have it be on the slips that Nathan's passing out, that's fine too. This is just advisory to the mayor. It's not even an official.
Oh.
I think Chris has a question.
Yeah, Alder Chris
So just-
Olson.
We doing one name or 2 names? So is it one name and then the top 2 vote get
One.
it, or one name?
One name. One name
Yes.
with the top 2 vote getters.
Could we review the 4 that have volunteered now?
I think we should have 2 names. What do you
Okay,
guys?
2.
I would just do the top 2 vote getters versus 2
Top 2
separate.
vote getters?
Yeah.
What if one person gets all the votes?
Then you'll do it for number 2.
All right, all right. Rate one name. You're picking from Alder Appenfeld, Alder Anderson, Alder Bonnet, or Alder Hiley. Again, I'm getting better. I got a sore throat, so it doesn't, my brain's not working.
You don't have to spell everyone. We'll figure it out.
Oh. In case Appenfeld looks like Hiley or what? Gotta get this over with.
Next time, I'm going to suggest on the agenda that we have a round robin rock, paper, scissors for this.
It's the first one out. I've never done that. Seems that sports betting is so popular. Anybody want to throw a 10 in on this?
we better get at least one for everyone, otherwise they really didn't want to do it. They could vote for themselves.
Maybe they chose someone else.
I think Ken voted for
He voted for you?
Yeah,
I have two of them that put two names up.
Just put the top one.
Oh.
Just, if there was anybody that put, two names, we're gonna put the
First
top,
one.
the first name, the top one.
Getting itchy over there.
You're as itchy as I am.
Yeah.
It's not a tie. I really need to go. Do it. Into the chair. Okay.
We didn't even have to request a recount.
With the ones with two names versus one. I have 6 for Bonnet, 5 for Anderson, 1 for Appenfelt, and 1 for Hiley.
Okay, thank you all for voting. And we will have a committee meeting in the future. We'll have to organize our method of doing the review. And I'm looking to Alder Burnett. And is there a second? Who said that? Alder Wild seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?